And how's everyone this morning?
Good morning.
Good. How you doing?
Good.
Eating right now.
All right, so you're here because you're interested in the iPad security features this morning. I did cover this previously back in June, but I see a need to do it again because it's an ongoing issue. You know, feeling a sense, you need to have a sense of security about using this device and knowing what you can use it for and how should you feel when responding to emails. How protected is it as far as hackers coming in, doing their thing? It's an ongoing issue. I mean, I basically studied cybersecurity, and it is something that you don't know everything initially. It's an ongoing learning process because there are new ways that the hackers are accessing the system. You know, as they say, the stricter the government, the smarter the population. And I'm using that as, what would you say, a metaphor to say that cybersecurity is an ongoing issue. As long as we're using these devices, the hackers are getting smarter. We need to get wiser in how we use it. Right?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
I'll always be coming back with this in mind, the iPad security features, so that you all can feel a sense of security when it comes to using this device and knowing what your limitations are. Okay?
Okay.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and read our disclaimer this morning. The Wilderness Technology Alliance TC iPad program, its owners and presenters offer technical assistance, virtual health, well-being information designed for educational purposes only. You should not rely on the information in any application or topics made by the Wilderness Technology Alliance, including but not limited to mobile and device applications, any social media pages maintained by the Wilderness Technology TC iPad program, its owners or presenters, as a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, treatment, or legal advice. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone.
We're going to see how much we can cover because it's quite a bit. So we're going to only go up until 11:30, and then you can ask me questions. But I want you to ask me questions during the presentation because I know retention is usually a problem for all of us. And if I'm addressing something particular and you like to learn more about that, then do interrupt, raise your hand, of course, and I will respond the best I can. Okay? All right, so we're going to try to cover the iPad accessories security, the app note, which you can make notes on, your Apple ID security, the two-factor authentication, password and reset recovery, what is iCloud and backup, iMessage, secure iPad, the iMessage security. There's a whole host of things, but I don't think we're going to get through all of this today. It's going to have to be continued, which I plan to on Monday morning. We'll be continuing on with what we don't cover today. Okay?
Okay.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning,
Good
John.
morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you all.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning. All right, so unlike most mobile platforms, the iPad, its operating system doesn't allow users to install potentially malicious unassigned apps from websites. You know, with Windows, for example, if you had a desktop with Windows, you can basically go to the website, any website, and download apps. That was a thing of the past. Apple is saying, here, not when it comes to the iPad, we're only allowing you to download things from the App Store, their store, meaning they want to vet those apps. They want to make sure that the developers are doing what should be done to avoid any malicious malware or whatever. So whenever you're on your iPad and you place your finger onto an app, you open that app, you have to have a level of confidence that the app is absolutely in good shape, and you should feel secure about exploring or using that app, right?
Right.
Eliminate any fears, right? So Apple even began with their accessories. They want to make sure that those accessories that you use attaching to your iPad, I don't know if you use any there, but there are accessories that you can use for your iPad, as shown on my screen. I think I was speaking with Brenda yesterday, and she asked about saving files, and I said, well, you can save on your thumb drive, but it's hardly ever done these days. It's mostly saved to the cloud information, but it is possible you can save to a thumb drive, as shown on here on the camera, if you don't want to save to the cloud. And to do so, they want to make sure that even their accessories are also robust, in shape as far as use. So we'll begin with an app on your iPad known as Notes app, which is, they've secured it. They said it's a secure note feature that allows users to protect contents of specific notes. Users can also securely share notes with others. For example, I'm here, I've got something really important I want to write down, but I don't have paper conveniently available to write it down. And then I might misplace the paper too, so that a password or an important telephone number or credit card number, whatever it is, Notepad is an app that you can use to jot things down and feel secure that it's unlikely that a hacker can access it. And why can you feel that way? Let's find out. Because anything that you do or document on Notepad is encrypted.
Yes.
Meaning, what I mean by encrypt, meaning you write it in plain old English, but once you walk away from it, or it's there, if a hacker comes in and tries to capture it, they're not going to see what you wrote down. What they're going to see is what is showing on my screen right now. You see all these digits?
Yes.
That's what they're seeing. Encryption. That's what Apple is saying. Okay. So they're trying to reassure you. Okay, so let's look at your Apple ID. Every one of you have an Apple ID, right?
Yes.
Okay. It is important for you to keep those Apple ID secure to help prevent unauthorized access to your accounts, right?
Right.
They're saying, and I'm sure when they created your Apple ID, that it had to be 8 characters in length, must contain both letters and numbers, must not contain 3 or more consecutive identical characters, and can't be a commonly used password. Whereas your password, your cat's name or something like that. A lot of people use familiar terms for password. They want you to be a little bit more complex. So I can assume that all of your Apple IDs following this procedure that's in place, and your one-on-one trainer who assisted you make sure that this actually happened. In the event that you misplace or you forget your Apple ID and you have to create a new one, keep these in mind. Keep these necessary requirements in mind, because it does happen. I just had to reset my Apple ID recently, so it happens. Okay. All right. Now, in addition, Apple employs a variety of policies and procedures designed to protect users' accounts. These include limiting the number of retries for signing and password reset attempts, active fraud monitoring to help identify attacks as they occur. So as you can see from this picture here on my screen, sorry, but your password must contain an uppercase number, a hyperglyphy, a feather, from a hawk, and the blood of a unicorn. They're asking you to do the impossible when it comes to password, but it is for your own benefit. So when creating passwords, for whatever reason, whether it's for bank accounts, whether for shopping on Amazon or shopping at Walmart online or Target online, when you're entering those, please don't make your passwords like by your pet's name or your birth date.
Yeah.
Be a lot more, selective in doing so. Okay?
Yes.
And Teresa, sometime when you typing in your password, it'll tell you if it's a strong password. It has a scale and it'll say it's a strong password. So, that's another good feature too.
Thank you. Yeah, chime in every once in a while if you got some tips too, because I don't know it all. I see Wayne. Wayne, we haven't seen you in a while. Good to see you, Wayne. I see your hand is raised, so go ahead and unmute and share.
Yes, it's been a while. But I wanted to know, like, we have a tendency to store our information on other, on other networks like Android or this or that. And I want to know, do your information transfer over? Like, I find out that my phone is linked to my iPad and everything is, linked in together. How do we avoid that?
Okay, so what I heard, now first I need to ask you, what type of phone do you have? You have an Android or
Android.
Well, your Android phone is not linked to your iPad because they're operating on two different operating systems.
Oh, okay. So it's not.
They're not linked. Right.
Okay.
And now an Apple phone or iPhone can be linked to your iPad.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Teresa. It's good seeing you too,
Yes. So you don't need to be concerned about that. It is not
Okay.
linked.
All right,
It's like trying to mix oil and water and make it become one.
Oh, yeah. We tried to do that. Oh,
No. All right. So that answers your question, right?
yes. Thank you.
Okay. So in some cases, for example, with banks, I know with my bank, when I'm accessing my bank online, or in some cases, even with Amazon, if I'm trying to access Amazon, I'm asked to use what is called the two-factor authentication. I'm sure some of you have heard that term before. If you haven't, please let me elaborate a little bit on it for you. It's meant to help users further secure their accounts by default. Apple uses two-factor authentication. It is an extra layer of security for Apple IDs, trying to ensure that only the account's owners can access the account, even if someone else knows the password. For example, here's a good example, just occurred yesterday. I am here and I saw something flashed on my screen saying somebody's trying to access Zoom, my Zoom account. Do I need to give them permission? Well, I thought about it and I go, so who could be accessing my Zoom account? And it dawned on me that Carolyn, who does the Lunch Hour Club, is trying to access it. Now, I don't always get that every time she's trying to access it, but sometimes I do. And let me tell you when I think it really happens. For example, if she's been accessing from a certain IP address, meaning her home location, then perhaps Zoom wouldn't bother to interrogate her. But if she's not accessing, if she's accessing from a whole new location, Zoom will interrogate her, will. And so they said they sent a text to me immediately questioning it. And so even with me, if I decided, okay, I'm going to start my Zoom meeting at a different location tomorrow or Monday, they're going to interrogate me, and they're going to want me to do what is called two-factor authentication, meaning they're going to send me, they're going to lock me out, say I can't, and then they're going to ask me to, they're going to send me a code to my email, and then that code that I receive in my email is what I can use now to access Zoom, my Zoom account. They're having to go that way because there's so much going on. Passwords alone just not doing it. Okay, so with two-factor authentication, a user's account could be accessed on only trusted devices, such as the user's iPad, and on other devices after completing a verification from one of these trusted devices or another trusted phone number. So remember, I'm trying to access my Zoom account on one device. They said, no, we're not giving you. So what are they going to do? Send me an email. So where do I go now? I have to now go on, perhaps in my email account now, to grab that code to access the Zoom account. Okay, so that's an example of two-factor authentication. I see a hand is up. Go ahead. Can you unmute? Area code 202, no name. Go ahead. The person with the area code 202. Please unmute and ask your question. Okay, I'll go with Yvonne. Yvonne, unmute. Go ahead and ask your question.
Okay, thank you very much. Teresa, once I was trying to do the two-factor authentication, and they said they were sending me a code to a phone number, but it was not my phone number, and I didn't understand that. And then I realized I had to delete the phone number that was there and put my correct phone number in, because I couldn't do the two-factor authentication because they had a phone number that was not my phone number. So I didn't understand that, but now I know that I had to delete the phone number that they were sending to my cell phone and put my correct phone number. And then they sent me a code and I was able to complete the process.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And thanks for sharing that, Yvonne. Yeah, thank you for sharing that.
And I was wondering,
I'll get to you in a minute.
I was
now,
wondering why
Yvonne,
you had to.
What puzzles me is how did they even get that phone number that was incorrect? That's what puzzles me.
What did you say, Teresa?
How did they even get the incorrect phone number to begin with?
Yeah, that's what I couldn't understand. Yes, and then I finally deleted that phone number and put my correct cell phone number, and then I did get a code that they sent me, and I completed the process.
Right.
But I was wondering why you had to delete your Apple ID. Why did you have to do that? Were you hacked?
No, I wasn't. What is it that went wrong? Something went wrong and it wasn't working. And this is just this week, receipt retention.
Yeah.
Something wasn't working with it.
Okay.
And well, it just, I wasn't getting in. And every once in a while it will happen. Just wasn't acknowledging what I was putting in there. It was directing me. And what I believe has actually happened, because I've been in this field for a while, is that when you've used it for X amount of times for so long, Apple is programmed to say, okay, it's time for you to reset.
Yeah, I think that,
It's time for you to reset.
Happened.
Yes. Yeah. You know, after so many, tries or length of time, I don't know which one is greater, because I myself, when I used to teach this class, I would tell my students, look, when it comes to developing the software, you have to give the user, either they use the new password X amount of times, or you lock them out after 90 days.
Yes. I think that happened with my bank as well, because I had to
yeah.
change my password and I was wondering why. And I guess after a period of time, they want you to do that.
Yeah, and I think that's what happened there.
Okay,
Thanks for
thank
sharing.
you.
Okay, Miss Duckett, how are you this morning?
All right. I was trying to get in when you was talking about the 202 number, but I wanted you to explain a little more to what you were saying, because here's the problem I had. The Lyft transportation was on my account saying that I had taken transportation, and of course they found out that I had not used Lyft, because I don't use Lyft or Uber. And they had to change my card. So does that also come under what you're speaking of now? Because that is a dangerous thing when someone, charges on your account and you don't know anything about it.
Yeah, it's pretty scary, and it happens. So let's drill down on what we think may have happened there. So you're saying that on your Lyft account, which you don't have a Lyft account, is that what you're saying?
Right.
No.
Right, but on
Because
your
I
credit
asked them
card,
don't
you
send
saw,
me a Lyft, and
you
I
saw
asked them don't
billing.
send me a Uber.
Right, that means somebody got a hold of your credit card and used it on their Lyft account. That's what happened. So that's why
Wow.
we should, if we have credit cards, we need to look at them every single month. The bill. Yep, every single thing, because you don't know who's using your credit card information, and it happens.
Do you suggest we change our cards every so often?
No, because that's up to the bank, and the bank. No,
I
what
like
you
it.
have to do, you have to be your own,
Yeah, she like
your
being
own
outside.
eyes. You've got to check your
You'll be
billing every month.
outside if you with her.
You've got to check your billing every month. It's your responsibility to check your billing every month to make sure nothing is being booked on your credit card that you did not authorize. And it happens. I mean, I can give you another good example. I went to get my hair done over a year ago. I used my credit card, and then months later, I noticed that I'm being billed every month for going to this beauty shop. It's like, okay. So somebody's been using my credit card. So, and I neglected to check so I need to every month look at my credit card billing just to make sure no one else is doing so.
Right.
Okay.
Because that happened with me also, Teresa, when I purchased a pair of shoes, and I had to let them know that they had already taken out for the shoes, but for some reason, I don't know whether there was something wrong with their machine when they put my card through, but it came out like 3 times. Charged me 3 times for it. They refund me and all that. It's just that what I'm saying is, if I had not been checking and seeing that they had taken it out 3 times, letting them know, I wouldn't have known, and my account would have really been overdrawn.
I can imagine. Yes, we have to be our own police, detective, whatever it is. Don't trust the bank entirely, because they're only going by what data they receive. They don't know. Okay, so we've got to be our own advocate in that area. Thank you for sharing, Ms. Duckett. Okay, Brenda Thompson, your hand is raised.
Yes,
Go ahead,
good morning.
Brenda. Good morning.
Good morning to everyone. A lot of things that happen. A couple of things that happened to me using my debit card. My grandson showed me how, if you do online banking, he showed me how to lock my card. I lock I have a credit card with the bank, and I have my debit card. When I lock them, I can do it online. And so I don't have to check my banking account, because even if I use it, I have to unlock it.
Mhm.
I can't use
What
it
do you
at the
mean
store,
by
nothing.
what?
No one can use my card. What I never liked about the debit card, they don't have to have your PIN. They can use credit. If they
Mhm.
go to the
Oh,
store,
yeah.
your
Mhm.
card get stolen or lost, they can use it as credit. They don't need your PIN number. But
Mhm.
when you lock your card, no one can ever use your card, not even you. And
Mhm.
that's what I wanted to say, because it's very valuable.
Mhm. Thank you for sharing, Brenda. Very, very important information, and it can impact any of us, any of us. All right, we'll go with Brenda McManus. Go ahead.
Yes, Teresa. I just wanted to add to what Miss Duckett was saying on your transportation card. If you try to get another card, there's a fee involved. So you just have to be vigilant and check your card and check all of your transportation trips that you've taken to make sure that they've taken that amount out that you authorize. So, you know, you just have to look at your account to see what's taking place and what money is being deducted.
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for sharing, Brenda.
Sure.
Thank you. All right, we'll go now with Ann Dennis, and then we'll go
Teresa,
back to
just
the
a quick
lecture.
question, please.
Yeah, but
Okay.
there was,
Go ahead. Well, let's do Ann Dennis and then Mandy, you, okay? Go ahead, Ann.
I was just going to say, that you really got to be diligent, because somebody ordered some food from a restaurant. Uber Eats delivered it, and I never even heard of the restaurant. And if what they ordered, I would not be eating. So you really got to check on these things. And I'm trying to figure out how this restaurant even got my credit card number.
Mhm.
So the people are so devious now. So
Yep. We
because I
have to be
thank you
very-
for reminding us to check our cards every month.
Yep, vigilant. Just be vigilant. Everything you do electronically. All right,
Yes.
Mandy. Go ahead, Mandy.
Hi, Teresa. I've always been told by Apple, especially when you go into the Apple store and the Genius Bar, the representatives, that Apple products are incredibly secure and never worry about your information on it. But there's been 3 rapid security updates in the past month, and there are vulnerabilities. So it's not as safe as they're making it out to be, because you know, you could still get hacked and information can still get taken, right?
Mhm. I don't trust
Okay,
nobody.
so let me express a little bit on that note, Mandy. Haven't been a developer myself. You say you develop something today, an app, okay? And everything is fine. You feel like you've locked it down, you've secured it, everything that should be 99.9% that it shouldn't be. 6 months from now, some smart aleck figures out a way how to get it. That's what we're living with. That's why there have to be security updates on a regular basis, because the moment they find a way in, it's no, right? But there's nothing that's 100% secure when it comes to digital, nothing. The FBI files, government files, I just read recently were hacked.
Yeah.
Some method being used. So it doesn't matter what the device or the whoever product, as long as it's created by man, guess what?
Sure about that.
It can be hacked.
That's by man.
Breakable by man.
That's right.
That makes sense, but there's something that I find confusing, because when Apple stops supporting, like, not a super old device, but something that's like within recent history, but it's just one that just didn't make it to the list of devices that are being supported. So they stopped supporting it with new iOS updates. But some Apple folks will tell you okay, we're not going to give you new updates, but we will send out security updates when, you know, there's a vulnerability. But then you get other Apple representatives that'll tell you, no, once we cut you off, even the security updates won't be available. So who to believe?
Yeah, that's a tough one, but you know that's a lack of proper training going on there.
Yeah, but I just don't know like which one to believe, because I think
Exactly.
it's generated
But
by them wanting you to buy, you know, another $1,000
I'm on my
phone.
way now.
Right. What
Sure.
I can say is from my own understanding of how this works, and I'm not speaking on behalf of Apple or Windows or wherever. Once a device an operating system is no longer being supported by you, whether it's Windows or whatever, they'll let you know when it's going to be stopped. You know, for example, Windows 7. I remember, I don't know if any of you are aware of that. If you have a desktop, but for years we used the operating system Windows 7. For years we did. And then came a time where they must move on. So they moved on to Windows 10. The Windows 10. But what they did was they sent out word. I mean, wait a minute, somebody's making.
Somebody got
They're
get
having a conversation, real conversation.
Yeah. What they did was they told, at least for a year, if I recall, that they will be no longer supporting that operating system at such and such a date and time. So it's up to you to now be prepared for that. That in other words, it's now going to be vulnerable. But they give you ample time. They don't just do it abruptly. That's what I can say. Okay?
Okay, thanks.
Okay. I see Edward. Welcome. We haven't seen you in a while either. Good morning. Please unmute. Here.
Good morning. Good morning. I've been here.
We're hardly hearing you, Edward. Edward.
Just as there
Edward's having a problem
Yeah,
too.
we're hardly hearing you. You're going in and out.
made to constantly shift. Oh,
All right, we'll go with John.
okay. I don't.
Miss Teresa,
Hello, John.
I just want to ask a quick question. I got another meeting to go to. Will I get credit for this meeting too?
Can you hear me now?
No, this is not one that offers
Okay.
credit.
Well, I'll try later.
This
Okay,
is not
guys.
one that offers credit.
Go to.
This is one more for learning. You know, there's always a need to learn more about your device.
Yes,
So,
ma'am.
yeah, our ones that offer credit are on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 1:30 in the afternoon. Okay,
Okay. Thank you.
you're
Y'all
welcome,
enjoy.
John. All right, I see Edward. I don't know what happened, but I'm going to move on now. Okay, so as far as signing onto your device for the first time, I think all of you've gone through it because you're now owners of the iPad. And so you all had to have your Apple ID and password in place with the code. So I'm going to jump over that. I'm also going to jump because we talked at length about two-factor authentication. So let's talk about this here. When a user signs in to an Apple website using a web browser, let's talk about this. A second factor request is sent to all the trusted devices associated with the user's cloud account, requesting approval of the web session. If the user is signing in to an Apple website from a browser on a trusted device, they see the verification code displayed locally on the device they're using. When the user enters the code that is the device, the web session is approved. So Apple is saying here, and this is if you've got, they talk about an Apple website using a browser, meaning you're on your iPad, you're going to Safari, okay? And you're using a trusted device and you're logging into, while you're on the browser, you're logging into wherever, that is requiring that. If they feel that there's a need to interrogate you to make sure you are who you are, and you do have a right to that account to sign in, they will ask for, and that's what happened yesterday when Caroline was trying to log in using Zoom. She couldn't get in because for some reason they felt there was time to, it was programmed to interrogate her. And so they wanted to get from me, is it you trying to log in? Okay, so I'm usually logging in way out here in Georgia, but there's Caroline logging in DC. Are you really who you say you are? They wanted to confirm that. Okay, so they're saying if an Apple ID account password is forgotten, and we talked at length about, a user can reset it on a trusted device. If a trusted device isn't available and the password is known, a user can use a trusted phone number that can be used to authenticate the SMS verification. And that's what happened in the case with Yvonne. Her phone was, they used the phone to make sure that she was authenticated. All right, so moving out. So now, I don't know if any of you have had to reset your password at any game, your Apple password. Oh, they wouldn't allow us to use that. So I've got this brief video on how
Forgot your Apple ID
how to
password?
do it.
Don't worry, it's easy to reset in the settings app of your trusted device, thanks to two-factor authentication. Here's how. First, open settings and tap your name. Tap password and security. Then tap change password. Enter your device passcode. Now enter your new password in both fields. Tap change to confirm. Finally, choose whether to sign out any other devices that are using your Apple ID. If you still need help, visit iforgot.apple.com.
Okay. All right, so that's for those of you who may have to reset your password at some point, your Apple ID password. All right, let's talk about cloud. I don't know, and I'm sure at this point, some of you are aware about what is cloud and why, in fact, I think Brenda McManus, you had, we talked about cloud, was it yesterday or 2 days ago?
A couple of days ago, yeah, when
Yeah.
I was asking about all those photos and I gotta pay forever.
Yeah, we could talk about that some more, but here it is. Have you ever wondered what it means when people talk about storing things in the cloud? How can you store things in a cloud? Okay, your iPhone or iPad have built-in cloud storage. If you'd like to learn what all this cloud means, then is this a video I have here in place? I think I have a video. Yep, here it comes. Let's look at it.
The best way to burn fat and get shredded is not keto, paleo, it's not carnivore, it's not
Skip the app. Okay.
Have you ever wondered what it means when people talk about storing things in the cloud? How can you store things in a cloud? If you're like me, you know what a cloud is. And you sure can't store anything there except, maybe rain. But did you know your iPhone and iPad have built-in iCloud storage? Well, it turns out this really isn't all that complicated. If you'd like to understand what iCloud is all about, then stick around. I'll break it down in a few easy steps. Hi, my name is Rich and welcome to the channel. I do my best to help beginners and seniors get the most out of their iPhone and iPad each day. No crazy, complicated stuff here. And if that sounds like it might be helpful to you, then please consider subscribing. But either way, these videos are all free, and I hope they're helpful. Today, I'm going to talk to you about Apple's iCloud. And to set things straight, it's not a cloud, it's a service, a storage service. And if you own an iPad or an iPhone, you probably have taken pictures and written notes and added files and set up calendars, probably other stuff too. Both your iPhone and iPad have a relatively small amount of internal storage. And once that storage is full, what do? Well, What do you do when your suitcase gets full? You get another suitcase. iCloud is kind of like that second suitcase, only a whole lot more. If you have iCloud backing up your data properly, if you drop and break your iPhone or iPad, you can simply buy a new device, log back in using your Apple ID, and all your pictures, files, calendars, and such will just show up, nothing lost. If you lose or someone steals your device, all your data is protected. These backups stored on iCloud can be used to restore everything to your new iPhone or iPad. That allows you to be up and running as if the new device had always been yours. So in today's video, I'm going to show you 3 simple things: how to check your local storage, see how much you're using, how to check your iCloud storage and buy more if you need it, because, it's not free. And then how to make sure iCloud is turned on and backing up what you want to be backed up. All right, let's get started. The first thing I want to talk to you about is just how to check your local storage. And by that, I mean you have things that are stored physically on your iPad, and then things that are stored up in the cloud on iCloud. And sometimes it's good to know how much space you have left on your own iPad or your iPhone. I'm using an iPad today. So to check your local storage, you simply go into Settings, and you go to General, and then you go to iPad Storage. And here it'll give you a little line that shows you what's being used. I have 64 gigabyte of space on this iPad, and I've used almost 50 gig of that. So I'm getting pretty full on this iPad. But the iPad gives you ways to sort of clean that up. So for example, it says you can remove older downloads from podcasts. You can offload unused apps, and you can auto delete old conversations that are like a year old or older. And that's kind of handy. So I'm going to do that. It says right here, I can save 10 gigabyte of space by removing older downloads from podcasts. So I'll click Enable. And then I'm going to click Offload Unused Apps and click Enable. And I'm going to auto delete old conversations. I'll enable. And now this is updated, and I've only used 38 gig of my 64 gig. So I was able to get some space back on my local iPad. And as you scroll down through here, you can see what's using space on your iPad. These are all the apps I have and how much space they're using. I have quite a few apps on this iPad, as you might suspect. But that is how you check local storage. Okay, the next thing I want to show you is how to check your iCloud storage. So if you go back into Settings again, and you go up to your name at the very top where it says Apple ID, iCloud Media and Purchases, and you tap on it, then you'll go into iCloud. And here you can see I have 200 gigabyte of iCloud storage, and I'm using about 90 gigabyte, 89.5. So I'm not using quite half of what I'm paying for. On the iPhone and iPad, Apple gives you 5 gigabyte of storage space for free. So most of the time, unless you have a lot of stuff on your iPad like I do, 5 gigabyte might just be fine. That might be all you need. But sometimes you need more space.
Teresa disappeared.
Yeah, it's coming. It's coming.
Okay.
And then you can see what I've stored here: photos, docs, others, and family. I've got a family sharing plan. And here you can see where it says change storage plan. You can tap on that. And you can see that I have purchased the 200 gigabyte plan per month. So it's $2.99 a month. $3 a month isn't too bad. I don't worry about $36 a year to know that all of my pictures and everything are backed up properly. That's not too high of a price to pay. If you've purchased a plan and you're not using as much storage as you've purchased and you want to downgrade to something cheaper, you can do that too. You can just tap on downgrade options. And now I could go back to the free plan, or I could go to a 50 gigabyte plan. In my case, I won't do either of those because I'm using 90 gigabyte now. So looks like the $299 plan for me is about right. But that is how you buy more storage if you need more storage on iCloud. The last thing I want to talk to you about is how to make sure iCloud is turned on and that you're backing up the programs and the data that you want backed up. So once again, we're going to go back into settings.
You might have seen videos like this before,
Hold
but
on.
here's the big secret. Anyone can make one of these videos in a few minutes.
You'll tap on your name. Now, you're automatically logged into iCloud when you get a new phone or a new iPad and you set up your Apple ID. However, you can sign out of iCloud. And down here at the very bottom, if you scroll to the bottom, you'll see where it says sign out. If you sign out there, you're no longer connected to iCloud, and everything you have in iCloud doesn't sync back with your devices. So it's important to maintain that connection and to stay signed in. And since it's done by default, you typically don't have to worry about it. But if you're taking pictures on your phone and you realize they're not backing up or showing up on your iPad, it may be because you're not logged into iCloud. And this is where you go and check in. And if you're signed out, this will say sign in, and you'll tap on it and then sign in, and then everything will sync back up. And that's how you make sure that you're signed in. Now you want to take a look and make sure you're backing up everything to iCloud that you want to back up. Here, you tap on iCloud, and you see that Photos is turned on. I think Photos is about the most important thing. There are some documents I have that are super important, but most of the time I can replace those documents, but gosh, I just can't replace a photo. So I make sure Photos is turned on. iCloud backup, don't let that confuse you. That's just saying that iCloud backup is turned on. iCloud Drive, that gets a little confusing too, because now we have iCloud and iCloud Drive. iCloud is really like your entire filing cabinet. iCloud Drive is just like a drawer in your filing cabinet. And there you store things that just don't fit into other places very well. But I keep iCloud Drive turned on. I make sure my contacts and my calendars, my reminders, my notes are all backed up to iCloud. And that way, anything that I'm looking at on my iPad, if I'm away from home, I can see on my iPhone. Likewise, most people back up their messages. I don't. Some of these things you can just pick and choose. I like to keep track of stocks that I have, and so I back those up. And these are all of the applications that I have on my iPad, and you'll also have a list on your iPad. And if they're important to you, you can simply turn them on or turn them off by tapping the little button on the side. And that way you can pick and choose what's going to be backed up to iCloud. It's really pretty simple, and that's all there is to it. I've only touched the surface of iCloud and its deep integration with your iPhone or iPad, but this video was designed to just give you an overview of what iCloud is and how it works.
Okay, so now you get an idea about what iCloud is, okay? Any questions on iCloud?
I'm going back to the free plan.
Okay, keep in mind, you want to keep those photographs. That's, he mentioned,
Yeah.
that's the part that, you know, I have photographs of my grandson. There's no way when he was born, I want to lose those photographs.
No
There's
way. Yeah.
I
Don't
will
you
pay
supposed to
99 cents a month to keep them.
Yeah.
Teresa, don't you supposed to go in there so maybe once or twice in a month and just back it up, push the backup button?
But your
I do
backup
that.
is happening as you enter, you save stuff. And backup is entering every time. If you check your iPad, you'll see when it'll tell you when it was last backed up. That's if you have it
Yeah.
on as shown in the video.
Right, because I always tap it and update it.
So let's look at what is stored there. They're saying users' contacts, your calendars, your photos, your documents, and more. As I said, and I'm going to say the same. Photos are what important. They're most important thing to me, you know. And so there is some degree of security here. Apple is saying that they're offering, you know, that, you know, it says here, iCloud can also be used by third-party apps to store and sync documents, as well as key values for app data as defined by the developer, whoever's developing it. Okay. All right, so to set your iCloud, and he showed in that in the video, once you sign into your device with your Apple ID, you can choose what apps you want to use. Yep, you make a decision what apps you want, any data that, relative to those apps saved on iCloud. For contacts, yes, you can have contacts saved. Your calendar, yep. Reminder, yep. Photographs, and so forth. That's what they're saying. You make that decision, how you're spending your money. Apple offers users two options to encrypt and protect the data they store in iCloud. All right, so let's find out. The standard data protection, the default setting. The user's iCloud data is encrypted. The encryption keys are secured in Apple data centers, and Apple can assist with data and account recovery. So the standard one, that's most likely the free one. Now, why should there be another kind? Let's find out. All right, the advanced protection for cloud is an optional setting that offers Apple's highest level of cloud data security. If a user chooses to turn on advanced data protection, their trusted devices retain sole access to the encryption keys for the majority of their cloud data, thereby protecting it using end-to-end encryption. When you turn on advanced data protection, the number of data categories that use end-to-end encryption rises to 23 and includes your iCloud backups, your photos, your notes, and more. So this is a higher level. Why is it necessarily? Well, it depends on what you want saved. They're saying they're offering you the standard one. Now, I could tell you there are degrees of security or encryption. When I use that term, degrees of it, depending on which one you have, it's like you have certain degrees of what? Locks, right? For example, on your front door, you might have a regular key and then you have a deadbolt, right? But maybe in your home, you might have just a place in your where you just have a regular key, a regular lock. So degrees of securing, that's what it's saying. The more you want it, for example, the bank has one set of keys to get into the bank, but then they're in their deposit in their back, and then they have a big old metal place where they have all this, the money, the cash money saved in there, even on the heavier security. So it's degrees of security is what they're talking about here.
So Teresa, the end to end, what does that mean? That means the degree of security?
No,
end to end?
No, it's like, you think of it like a plumbing. Water in, water out.
Oh, okay. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
iCloud backup occurs only when the device is locked, connected to a power source, and has Wi-Fi access in. Yeah. In order for the cloud to work, it has to have what? Some kind of network in place.
Right, internet.
Right? And that's what they're saying here. So the following kinds of backed up. So let's find out. Okay, let me go back here. I don't know why it's October. Let's go back here. All right, so the following content is backed up. Records for purchase, this is their stuff now they're talking about. Records for purchase music, movie, TV shows, apps, and books. A user iCloud backup includes information about purchased contents presented at the user's device, but not purchased content itself. So they're saying you're going in there buying stuff using your credit card, you can be sure that that's backed up.
Right.
And encrypt too.
Encrypted.
Yeah, encrypted. Yeah. All right. So now that we've covered iCloud, how's our clock? Because we're going to take a little. Any questions before I go to this very last section, and then I'll call it a day because the clock is ticking. Any questions in this section we just covered?
No. Teresa, let me say that I have Windows 7 on my desktop, and I have a notice that I can't get rid of. It says no longer encrypted. So I guess that's because I still have Windows 7. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's because it's no longer, they're not maintaining Windows 7 any longer. They stopped maintaining Windows 7. Oh my goodness. Huh. At
Yeah,
least
and
4
I
years
still have
ago.
it, and it's working fine, but I had a technician in here, and he
Mhm.
couldn't get rid of that notice, so it appears on my screen all the time.
Yeah, I can imagine. They're letting you know. Maybe it's a reminder to let you know anything you put on there, don't expect it to be secure or encrypt.
Exactly. But
That's
when
what they're telling you.
when I do
It's a
any
warning.
banking, yeah, I don't save to the to that browser when I do my banking. So I get a notice that, you know, someone has been into my account, but it's been me. I'm the one who's been into the account, but I don't save it to my device.
Excellent. So you're still using Windows 7.
I am.
You don't want to move to Windows 10?
Yeah, can I download that right on my computer?
Yeah, I used to. There was one point I used to help people get from 7 to 10. I'm hoping by now it's still free. It should still be free. It was free originally when I started doing it, helping folks to do it. And I would think if you do know of anyone who can help you,
to download to 10.
Yeah, I used to remotely do it for others. I would get on their desktop and remotely download that for them. Let's talk about that at another time, Yvonne.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Remotely download it and get it onto your box. So you need to get rid of 7 anyway. You need to move on to 10. It's been years now.
Is that something the help desk could help me with? No, I don't think so.
They're going to say no. They're going to say no. But there are other organizations that can. I know Bite Back would be able to help you with that. I also know there's another help desk. Bite Back on ramps have a help desk right now that's open for seniors that could help you. But I don't know if they've been trained to do that. The only reason I know is because I was trained to do that.
My son does that kind of work, Yvonne.
Who does?
My son, my youngest son, he does that. He installs Windows, repairs computers, he does all that.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Yes, it takes a trained person to do it. Not everybody can do it.
No, everybody can do it.
Thank you, Brenda. I might have to
contact my number, Yvonne.
And not only that, you have to make sure you have enough RAM to download Windows 10.
Right. Exactly.
That's very true, Diane. Diane is on top of things. You must have enough RAM.
Yeah.
But they'll let you know. Whoever's doing it will let you know if you have enough RAM.
Yes. All right. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Okay. Was that it, Diane, for you?
Yes.
That was so we're going to cover iMessages and then we'll end it for today. So again, if you are using iMessage, you can feel secure that that's also standard data protection, meaning it's encrypted. Any information you share in your iMessage by messaging back and forth, you can feel a certain degree of confidence that it's encrypted. It says here, end-to-end encrypt when iCloud backup is turned off. Okay, so you're back and forth sending messages to me, but as long as you have your iCloud backing up that data, especially if you don't delete it, once you move on, it'll be encrypted when it comes to if anybody having access to it other than you. So that's what happens with iMessage on that one. I don't know how many of you use it. All right, so I'm going to wrap it up here because I don't want to overwhelm you. I think we've covered quite a bit. We'll pick up Monday morning with this here, account recovery, and we'll move from there. Okay, so any questions before I wrap up for today?
I just want to tell you, thank you for giving us this information. And
It's going to be ongoing.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's ongoing thing. Let me see. I took my first cybersecurity certification back in 2014, and I tried my very best to keep up with the changes, what is occurring. But every day I see more and more hacking, more and more. So nothing, nothing is obviously, as Mandy brought out earlier, nothing is 100% because there are always going to be changes going on about how to lock down the system, how to keep it secure. So I'll have to, as an advocate for you all or a mentor, is to keep you all feeling a certain level of confidence in how to keep your system locked down, how to feel secure when you go on a browser and your accounts. It's an ongoing thing. Ongoing.
I want to say thank you to Teresa, because there are times that we get into situations and we don't have anyone to come and explain things to us, because sometimes people don't always tell you the right thing. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
So I appreciate you talking to us and telling us these things.
Oh, you're more than welcome. It's always been my concern to be protective of seniors. I'm also a senior. I see a great need for it. And so I'll continue doing it as long as I have the opportunity to do so.
Well, this
Thank you, Teresa.
This really is a help to us. We really appreciate you.
Okay. All right. So that brings us to this morning's, and then we'll have, it's Friday. We don't have a lunch. Or do we have anything here that I need to take care of in the session, in the chat? Thanks for the chat. There are no concerns. Why did you have to change your Apple ID? That was, all right. I think again, have a wonderful what's left of the morning. There's no lunch hour club this afternoon, but there is our Tech Friday this afternoon at 1:30. I will be on with that. We're extending what we started last week about how to access your past presentations. Via YouTube, and how to create Google accounts to assist you in doing that. That's where we're going this afternoon. Okay?
Okay.
All right. So have a pleasant one, and God bless all of you, and see some of you, or I would like for most of you this afternoon. Okay?
Okay, Doctor. Thank you.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
See you later.
See you on Monday to continue.